keep forgetting my mic, but hopefully the phone mic still good enough. People can hear. Baruch Hashem. So we're just gonna summarize a little bit what we did in the Likutei Moharan, and welcome back Barry all the way from the US. And Baruch Hashem, we had the schus 3 days in a row. The Goldsmith's got Aliyahs and Shirat Davids. I was Shabbos. Baruch Yitzchak was yesterday Rosh Chodesh, Nisan, and this Sadikul today. And today is Keneged Shevet Yisoscha, which is all about Yeshcha. Yeshcha, what's the schar of learning and the doing mitzvahs? There is noch a mitzvah, more learning. Mitzvah bring mitzvah. Mitzvah gedola lios b'simcha. Simcha gedola lios b'mitzvah. We have to enjoy the merit that we have to do mitzvahs, and Yisoscha knew that. And that's why his whole Chodesh Iyar, which is all the light of that month is in this day right now, on the second day of Nisan, is Sfiras HaOmer. So the whole Chodesh you get a mitzvah that you do every night, because that's the awe of Yisoscha, constantly busy with mitzvahs and Torah. And Omer fixes up a lot to do with Yesod. We'll talk about it when we get closer to that. It's also connected with Rebbe Nachman as well, which is an extra gula. Do you ever put tefillin Rebbe Nachman on?
No.
Maybe one time you should do it. Just brings an extra aura of the tzaddikim into your life. Anyway, we'll talk about it maybe. But here we are, so we're learning Torah, the Likutei Moharan, Chelik Aleph, Sif Hey. We talked about how important it is to the Torah, the kovod of Torah. Yeah? The kovod of the neshama, the idea that we have, Hashem gave us a nefesh. Now, the more we bring out the kovod of the soul of a yid, the more we're bringing out his Torah, and the more we're bringing out his soul. It's all connected. So, for example, right now, Rav Shlomo's not here today, unfortunately. Yeah? But Baruch Hashem, I get to learn. And for me, that's a chizuk also. I mean, I miss Rav Shlomo. I saw him last night with schmoozing. And also a guy, a rapper called 18G, the Jewish rapper. So we'll put that as a cover. We were talking about how to bring Torah into some pretty far off places. One of the things is H&G wants to open up a bar, so we can bring the Torah into the bar. Now I'm sure there's Rabbonim who are not so happy. He's moved here. He lives in Beit Shemesh. I'm sure there are people, but his musag is coming from LA, and his journey is you have to bring the Torah where you are. So my son the other night, my older son, he was walking around Yerushalayim and he was looking for a place where he could hear a shir and drink beer. And there wasn't a place. So Min HaShamayim, here he is meeting 18G, who wants to open up a bar in Jerusalem that's going to have Torah Shirim playing the whole time. So he's a very big fan of MDY, Rebbe Stefanski. He wants to have Torah playing. So that's his nakuda. So hopefully he'll be matzliach, because it'll be a big elevation for Jerusalem to have a place you can go and have a beer and still hear shirim and get chizuk from the environment, and hopefully it'll be a kosher v'yosher. Now, Rebbe Nachman is talking about bringing out this Torah. We all have these opportunities to learn a little bit.
It could also be for like shadchanas.
Yeah, a good place for shidduchim also. Bezat Hashem. People really rely on those hotel lobbies, but this will be maybe a little bit more fun. Yeah?
No, but even just to meet random.
Because the difference is
even to meet random.
Yeah, that's also
people going to a bar that has Torah.
Not the most orthodox way, more unorthodox, but it's a way.
But
it works.
Torah.
Look, I met my wife in the gym, so yeah, it worked for me, Baruch Hashem. And finally, my son ended up working out in that same gym on this last trip. Yeah. But anyway, so coming back here, so this Indian is there were three Zahiris that Rabbi Yehuda was it Yehuda ben Beseira? Three Zahiris. Yehuda ben Beseira warned. One, make sure you honor a guy, a Talmid Chacham who's forgotten his Torah, because of lachatz in life. I would say that's most of us. We're all pressured, our phones, our lifestyle, and we can forget our learning because of that. Like you were just traveling. I'm sure it wasn't easy to keep up Yiddishkeit with the work in America. Maybe there was shirim and stuff, but it's still not easy. And you have on the plane shirim, but it's hard. You have to push
slightly.
Yeah. Now, also a warning was about the veins. We're going to get into that. This is to the Sif Vav. We're going to talk about these veins that he brings with the Sheichta. When you shecht, make sure you get rid of all the dam. And then the third one is B'nai Amaretz. That come out from them, they're going to come out tremendous Torah. From the Amaratzim, they're going to come out Avadi Yosef. Come out from the Amaratzim, a big tzaddik. I'm not saying his father was an Amaretz, but the Nakuda of people that supposedly are Amaratzim is going to come out from them Torah. Have a good day. Yeah. Anyway, So with Hashem's, by giving us, Hashem gave us a neshama, like a nefesh elikus. We've been talking about this a lot. By identifying ourselves with our neshama, that gives us ability to, when we're learning Torah, to mechazik the neshama. It's nizan. We've talked about this many times. It's the food for our soul. And when you mechazik that Indian of an older yid who knows Torah and he seems to have forgotten it because of life's challenges, by mechaziking that nekuda that he has a neshama and the Torah inside of him, that mechazik his nefesh, his soul. It's all connected. Have a good day. So we have to realize that it's very choshev to give honor to an older person, especially, and he has a tremendous soul and he has a tremendous chelik of Torah, a portion of Torah. So, like your father, for example, you mechazik him, he's an older guy, he's gone through, he was an army chap, he's gone through a lot in life. He probably sat in many shirim that we didn't even know about, like in the 70s and 80s. Rabbanim, Rabbanim, sat by them and listened to shirim. And we should bring out that nakuda, that chelik of his Torah. It would be kedai to do that. So now we're going to get to Vav. Zel hazar bevadin kerebi Yehuda. Ki adam hu nefesh shabo. In the blood, the nefesh is in it. The gilgul. Sarach shochet lechavein la'alas nefesh shebedam. Now this is deep concept. Yeah. When you do shechita, I honestly didn't know about this properly, so that's why we have to learn Torah, because you learn new things and you have to understand that it's not just whatever, that you have to spend a bit extra on your meat, because it's from kashrut and shechita and there's no dam in it, no blood. One of the concepts is here is there's nefesh, there's souls in the dam, and there's gilgul neshamas, reincarnated souls, and in order to release them and elevate them, you have to give shechita. When you do a kosher shechita, which is very appropriate right now because Parshas Vayikra. Vayikra is all about korbanos. We're in a whole time period. Some of the different groups in Am Yisrael don't get this whole sefer. So it's because it's like all about korbanos and the Mishkan. They're like, isn't that something that was? And we know, Chas v'sholom knows, there's no such thing as was. Torah is netzchias, Torah is forever. And if it's talking about korbanos this week, it's because we need to be shaykh to the inyanim of korbanos. Korbanos is self-sacrifice, Korbanos, here we're learning, by doing shechita properly on a piece of meat, we elevate, before on an animal, and then it becomes meat, we elevate the nefesh that's in the dam. So in order to get to that meat, we have to first do an aliyah. We have to elevate the food. How do we do that? Before we even eat it, we do shechita. That in itself releases the soul that's in the blood. And this is very interesting. Rebbe Nachman was saying, Nachman Simcha, Torah Lamed Zayin Sivav, is saying a big chiddush. And this is also one of the main reasons there's a lack in Parnasah, as the generations go on. Why? He's saying a big criticism on the generations as it's going on and on. The people who are the shchotim, who are shechting, they're not so correct. They're not so good. They're not doing it correctly. Or what does he translate Haganim? I just want to get the right words. In the breast of the org.
Unworthy.
Yeah. So they're unworthy. It's not the best way of doing it. So, for example, I would say nowadays, I'd say that probably the shchotim are, just to give chizuk, a lot of them are people who the specific kind of people to do shechita. It's not easy. So a lot of them are living in these places in South America or wherever you're getting your meat from.
It used to be like holy yids, basically.
In the old days, and then as time went on, and by the time Rebbe Nachman's generation, there was all kinds of issues with it.
And people, it was just people who needed Parnasah.
Parnasah, exactly. Like you have these melamdim, kids, God forbid, teachers of kids. A lot of them are doing it because they just need money, not because they really have a passion for teaching children. And then you see it comes out in how they teach the kids is not so great, which is very unfortunate because
also sometimes it's interesting. It seems like often, especially in America, that the places of shechita are kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, so they're in South America,
which also can't be, which also is probably
so testing Yiddishkeit wise.
Yeah, could be very.
Yeah, I had a friend.
God knows what they're doing at night. And then
I had a friend who was living in South America most of the year to do this Parnasah.
Yeah.
He'd come back with money and be with his wife and his kids. And you see him around for a few weeks, and then he'd be back off again for months, and it's hard to watch.
With his other family.
I hope not. But no, maybe they work on themselves. They have some sort of way of dealing with it. there's different eitzes, there are eitzes for people to do this and be Kodesh and Tahor. One of the issues of our generation, not only do they have to travel far, but they have to live somewhere far away from their family a lot of the time, it's very factory style. And I don't think it was back in the day, which means it's sort of 10x or 100x the problem. Because now when it becomes money, business on the highest level, where everything's very about the numbers, so one thing's about the numbers and the quality is the ikka, and the quality becomes a bit less. Now if you have a real Yerushalayim mashgiach or a chevra who is running it, so they're going to be around making sure the quality is also, that's what they're promising. That's why sometimes you're paying a lot extra for the meat, because the mashgichim are very high level people who are insisting on a high level of kashrut. So that's the other side of it. Our generation might actually be on a higher level because systematically we've come out with a very strong, based in very strong system of enforcing these levels, and it's able to be seen now because they have cameras and they have you can sit in an office in Yerushalayim and see everything going on in a factory wherever it is. So they do that with Shemitah. They have all these cameras now, and it's like the Beis Din becomes Big Brother in a holy way. Like they're looking at making sure everything is done on the highest level. So and you can't escape it because it's so monitored.
It's interesting with cameras, especially the type of zooms and all of that. They probably can make sure everything is perfect.
Everything. So because of technology, now you can't make sure the person's heart is. Right. So the guy's heart, he might not be thinking the best things, and they have to definitely attract the right staff and the right people. And when you eat food, one of the things that says in Shulchan Aruch, if you're a Yerushalayim, you'll have Safed Shmaya to only attract the right kind of food. But anyway, the point that Rebbe Nachman is bringing out is this affects people's Parnasah as a whole. The Jewish people have Nisyonis and Parnasah because it's all connected to our Yiddishkeit. And for some reason, the Sheichta aspect is a very important part of our success with Parnasah. So we have to try connect that and understand that. It's a deep concept. And the way the Rebbe Nachman connects it is a famous Mishnah. We had a beautiful shir this Shabbos. Was also, I mentioned it yesterday in Likutei Moharan, in the Tanya shir. In Tanya, I only had 10 minutes to say it.
But take your time.
Yeah. Have a good day. So we did Tanya. We mentioned Pirkei from Moti Berger. He spoke here. Moti Berger is very special. And we also in the Neshama. I actually had a walk with him yesterday after the shir. We walked up the hill before Shabbos Sudus, after Mincha.
So 2 days ago.
So it was Saturday afternoon, Shabbos day, and before Shabbos Sudus, and they offered if I wanted to eat with them Bensi, but I decided not because I had my son at home. He's gone back today, back to Miluim, so I didn't want to miss out on that time with him.
Oh, wow, you decided to go back, huh?
But I managed in that walk to talk to the Moti Berg about the shir very, very much, and I didn't mention it all yesterday when I said it over here on the recording, but it's a very important point of strengthening the neshama. But here he's saying that this is not just to do with neshama; it's to do with im ein Torah ein kemach. This is the famous other Pirkei Avos that we didn't mention yesterday. That if there's no Torah, there's no kemach. So you want Parnasah, and remember this
kemach is Parnasah.
Yeah. So you'll say, oh, what about all these rich secular Jews, blah blah blah? Yeah, all these rich people that don't learn Torah. So you don't want their Parnasah. Yeah. Right. Their Parnasah is not coming from a good place. You want a Parnasah that's kosher Parnasah that's with bracha, and when you use it to spend on your children and do mitzvahs, it brings bracha, not chas v'shalom the opposite. Yeah. Because there's kosher Parnasah and there's not kosher Parnasah, unfortunately. And people don't know about that, but that's an important clarification. You want to daven for Parnasah Tova, for a good Parnasah, not just Parnasah. Ki ein Torah ein kemach. Torah hi bechinas nefesh. Torah is the soul, the nefesh. Now, adizeh ein kemach Parnasah nismayit. And the problem is, when you don't have kemach, what happens? Your Parnasah goes down. Yeah? And why is there no kemach in this situation? So we have to figure out how is it connecting to Sheichta. You have any thought on it?
How what's connected to Sheichta?
If you're not doing it the best way, like our generation, probably even more so our generation, but in Rebbe Nachman's time, the Sheichta wasn't the best, so people's Parnasah wasn't so good. What's the connection? He's saying it's a Mishnah, in kemach in Torah, or in Torah in kemach. So probably the answer would be that when you're eating food that's not so kosher, it affects your Torah, it affects your soul. So therefore you're not going to really learn so much. And then when you're not really learning so much, you're not really going to have much Parnasah. Because the whole formula for success in life is Torah and Kemach. And it's interesting, Gedalia Fenster put out a video yesterday on his Facebook. He doesn't really do these kind of things. Like, he's quite private, and when I've gone to hang out with him in America, I mean, he's not really a hanging out kind of guy. He's pretty busy, but he get up early in the morning, he does his own holy avoda, gets up 3-4 in the morning, does all his different tefillahs and Seder before Nate's, and then we went out for a fruit shake in a place that he made kosher. He made this place kosher, so it was next to his gym. So he had a kosher juicery next to his gym. This is the kind of guy, he made that place kosher so he could have his fruit after his gym or before his gym. So we're sitting there drinking and schmoozing, and he doesn't want pictures and videos or anything. But for the first time ever, he put out like a video of him doing his early morning routine yesterday. And you get to see his kind of avoda is pretty intense. And you see part of his hatzlacha with his Parnasah and his Torah and his shirim and everything he's doing. His success is because he's so disciplined and he's so balanced in his schedule of health, fitness, well-being, the cold plunge, the mikveh, everything set up, very specifics, formulas of success. And a lot of my friends who are very successful, they all follow these kind of formulas because they're disciplined. They wake up early and they're ready for the day. They don't let the day catch them. They're already up before the day. Yeah. So this mitzvah to us, coming here davening at 10:08, just about getting here on time, and then beginning the day on the left foot. We should try work on this formula. But I think that's also connected with this Indian of Sheichta because it's the blood you're putting inside of you, by the food you eat. Because what happens when you eat food? It creates the dam, and the dam goes into your heart, into your mind, and affects your way of thinking and the way of. So the food you eat, you are what you eat, like they say. So we have to be careful that it's on a high enough kashrus, so that then we're able to learn and be a kli for Torah, and then that will give us a kli for Parnasah, because now we're tuned into the true formula. This is what the Chazal's there to help us with the right formula. I had a Hiddush about Chazal. Why do we call them Chazal? Chachmeinu Zechron Lebracha. We were learning this last week. And I said Chachmeinu Zechron Lebracha because the Chachamim are remembered for a blessing. It's all in order to connect to Chazal and quote Chazal, you have to have a good level of soul. And what's connected to your memory and your soul? This is all one thing. We've been learning this. Soul, memory, focus, becoming more spiritually, more elevated, tzedakah. These are all aspects that we're strengthening here. Rebbe Nachman's setting this up, this whole Torah Lamed Zayin, to help giving us a really strong formula, and part of that to do with the food. We'll start one little point, and we'll carry on next week. And this is why he brings this concept of the macheles. Now we're not going to get too into it today, but the main thing it says, it's based on a pasuk. Macheles. Where do you see this? This is a pasuk in Akedut Yitzchak. And when Avram Vinu wanted to do the Akedah, what did he take? He took the macheles. What's the macheles? That was his Sheichta that he was going to do for his son, Yitzchak. Now, obviously, it wasn't meant to do the Sheichta on his son. It was a test. It was Akedah. It was called Akedut Yitzchak. He was fully willing to do it. But the point is, the macheles, the will to do the Sheichta and to do the way Hashem asked him to do it, and to fulfill the Ratzon Hashem, elevated the whole concept of Sheichta for all the generations. And that's the kind of Sheichta that Rebbe Nachman is referring to when he's talking about that there's been a Yerida, there's been a lessening, because we're not tuning into the true Sheichta of Avram and Yitzchak, of Akedut Yitzchak. That's a merit for all of Am Yisrael to always have Parnasah, because it's connected in to the fact that Avram's willing to do, no matter what, Hashem's will, even if it doesn't suit his agenda. He's able to come to a madrega, high level, of shechting his son. And macheles is the same lashon. He's going to talk about it. He said, "Yesh shochet hagam ma'achol panes liYisrael." Machol is the same letters as macheles. So what he did then, the Sheichta, elevated the eating of Bnei Yisrael for all the generations, and that's connected into the Parnasah of Yisrael. So when Avram and Yitzchak, when we read about them Rosh Hashanah, it's the perfect Torah to read on Rosh Hashanah because it's about the Sheichta. And the Sheichta is the Sheichta of Avram and Yitzchak is what's going to give us. So he's explaining in a very deep way. It's going to give us the merit to have Parnasah, the Schus Avos. So we read it on Rosh Hashanah, so we have the Schus Avos, the Kedis Yitzchak. We have the Schus Avos when we read it in the Parshas Vayikra. Every day people read it in the Siddur. I read it every day in the Siddur, Kedis Yitzchak. It's a big Schus. It's one of the reasons I take a bit longer. So that's why I need to come a bit earlier, so I can be on time for davening. I need to start a bit earlier because I want to read a Kedis Yitzchak. I want to read Kabbanos. I don't want to just push that aside. Because we're seeing from here, it's so connected to such important schusim that we need to have. Okay, gives us a schus every day of Avram and Yitzchak, that they were most nefesh for Hashem in the ultimate way, and that brings down only shefa and brings down only good for Am Yisrael, connected to the shechita we do on animals nowadays and korbanos and everything else that we're able to connect to. It all goes back to that original shechita. Ki kol hashochet hagan hu malbishu nefesh b'chai shebedaber. So he has a deep concept we'll have to get into next week. But every shochet is clothed in the nefesh, that's in the chai, the living person, and that's the animal in this case, the chai, this ayil, this ram, or whatever you're shechting, b'midaber, and the one who speaks, that's us, Yisrael. You have to make a bracha when you shochet, and this is a deep, deep concept we're going to get into, but Pesach is all about the Malchus Peh. Speaking out the Seder night, bringing it alive, it's all about the Shekhinah comes through our mouth. That's why it's so important to speak good and to use our mouth properly, not just what we eat, but what we say. It's all connected. It's the place you're consuming, you're bringing out. So we have to work on bringing the Shekhinah into our mouth, into our life. And these are holy Torahs that we're going to get into now, the next Kufa, and it's perfectly timing with the Sefer Vayikra and with Pesach coming up, Pesach, the mouth speaks, so the Korban Pesach we're davening for, and all the meat we're going to have Yom Tov, please God, that it should be done in the right way. So we should have Parnasah b'Shefa, and we should and have the merit to realize we're not standing alone. When you go into America, you won't be by yourself. One, all of us care about you and missed you, which I hope you felt. Your wife's Shekhinah went with you. That's another important thing. The Talmud Devorah says whenever a husband goes away, the Shekhinah of his wife goes with him and brings him home as well. So you have an extra shmirah just being married and having a Eishes Chal like your wife. And then another thing is when you go away, you have Schus Avos always, wherever you go. And Avram and Yitzchak are there with you with this Kedis Yitzchak, because that merit is a tremendous merit. It wipes out all the judgments on Am Yisrael, because we're willing to give everything up for Hashem. And that's our essence. That's where we come back to. So every time you eat, Macheles is connecting into the Inyan of Shechita, of the Kedis Yitzchak. You're connecting into that same eating or shechting that happened then. And that gives us a constant connection. And this is something that the Noam Elimelech and Tzaddikim would talk about a lot. Just to have in mind today that today is Beis Nissen, is the Rashab's Yotzai, and he was a big tzaddik, one of the Lubavitcher Rebbes, and also we're coming up to a big Shabbos Hagadol Drosha this week, and we have in mind if Shlomo should be successful on his trip, he's going there to hopefully bring more Parnasah back for the shul. So the shul can keep growing, get the building finished, the mikveh sorted out. Everyone should support Shlomo Katz. We're also trying to help that J Tel Aviv. We're trying to help them as well. They're doing a fundraiser right now, and we're trying to help them raise some money. So Karen doing all the kind of events we went to with Nissan Black and Gedalia Fenster and all the Unity booking stuff that I've offered them. We want to keep that going. The comedian I brought them and Mikey Greenblatt. We want to keep these opportunities. So in order to get the Parnasah, everyone has to do more charity, and also we have to keep elevating our Judaism, our eating, and not take our Yiddishkeit for granted. It's a big part of our success. It's the ultimate formula, and everyone should be blessed with success in everything. Amen.